and greetings. Welcome back to Mediocre Minis. Oh boy, we're going off the rails. Well, not really off the rails, we're just making some adjustments. We continue with spooky season and the limited palette, but this time we're going a little bit out of order. Now here we have a miniature from Reaper. The link is down below. It is a Stone Golem. That's specifically what it's said to be, but I think it looks like Frankenstein's monster. I mean, let's be honest here. Look at it. The headpiece, the iron there, tall imposing figure. Yeah, it's Frankenstein's monster. So let's do that and skip over the Stone Golem aspect of it all, shall we? So let's get started. So for the base, or the skin for the base coat, the skin, the rocky skin, whatever. I decided to make it green, well, because Frankenstein does have green skin last time I checked. And this was done with the green and a tiny amount of black. And once that was dry, I looked at this miniature and realized that there's a lot of edges and bumps and nooks and crannies and texture, and it's an excellent candidate for dry brushing. So starting off with the dry brushing, it was just straight up green right out of the pot. Nothing fancy, nothing different, nothing crazy, and just went to town all over the mini. I really wanted to get most of the miniature covered with this darker green, or this lighter green. The reason being is the darker green we started off with filled in all of the nooks and crannies, so I kind of want almost everything else to be a brighter green since we're only going up from here. After that green dried the first round of dry brushing, I added in a very, very tiny amount of white into the mix. And I did this process several times, each time adding in more white to the dry brushing mix, but being lighter and lighter and even more gentle each time, getting less and less area covered or even touched by the brush to get these lighter highlights. Last but not least, I did use a very, very, very small amount of just pure white on some of the most predominant areas, so the skin looks very minty colored. It looks kind of chalky, it looks dusty. Clearly, it looks like it's been dry brushed and there's like white, looks like white dust all over it. But we do something kind of interesting here that really kind of changes it around and tones it down and kind of really brings the miniature together in a weird way. So what I do is I did some experimentation of what type of a wash or what type of filter I can put over top of this model to really kind of give it a much more interesting, less dry brush look. I tried some washes and I already have some black and some brown and realized I didn't want that right now, but I settled on, of all things, yellow. So I took a little bit of yellow paint and I thinned it down very, very thin. This is very, very, very super, super thin. I also did something similar with magenta in the I Painted the Thing of Demigod of Athena video. I checked that out. There's some interesting stuff I have in that one. Anyway, once I got the yellow very thin, I washed basically the entire model with it. Covered all of the green areas or all the green skin with this yellow. And it kind of had this cool effect on the white, really kind of toning it down, giving it this almost greeny, yellowy, glowy color. I also used the same effect on the eyes to give the eyes a little bit of a glow. I base coated the eyes with white. Once the base coat for the eyes was dried, I took this thinned down yellow and basically covered the eyes. Give it this nice little filter to make it look like a yellowy eyes. Either way, I'm actually pretty happy with how the eyes turned out. Definitely a nice yellow effect and, of course, a nice yellow tone all over the body. Now, second, there is the skirt, kilt, cloth-ish thing. We'll just go with that. There, I simply used a very dark black, or very dark gray, as my starting base coat. The same idea as I have above. I wanted all the nooks and crannies to be as dark as possible, and as I built up from there. And then I straight up used a little bit more white into the gray mix to make it a little bit lighter. And over time, just quickly dry brushed my way up, just like I did with the skin, to a lighter gray, and then a very small amount of white to bring out some of the sharpest points and edges. There's definitely a few metal bits on the model, or at least things that could be interpreted as metal bits. I have, we'll say, the helmet, the belt, and the bracelets. We'll go with that. These all got a base coat of, well, silver, of course. After the silver dried, I then gave it a very heavy black wash, very similar to how I've done armor in the past, especially with the other spooky season limited palettes. And once the wash finally dried, I then simply highlighted back up with silver again to bring out some of the edges and highlights. The base I kept very, very simple. Just as this is a simple mini, the base deserves to be simple as well. With a simple base coat of gray and a black wash, that covers the base pretty quickly and easily. And finally, of course, you finish the whole miniature up with a black base rim. And there we have it. Our Frankenstein's monster is complete. Definitely another spooky mini that's actually somewhat spooky, both in spooky season and in real life. What do you think? How do you like the effect? Do you think the yellow filter worked out? Do you think I should have just left it as is? I'm curious to know what you think about our monster friend here. Thanks again for watching. I hope you are enjoying spooky season. This is Mediocre Minis, and may the divine light your path.